Alrighty trainers, welcome to this episode of Raid Royale. This is TaeganAdventures and the Luminous Legends is upon us right now. Xerneas has come and gone in raids, and now the other box art legendary of the Kalos region has arrived, Yveltal. Now Yveltal is a dark and flying type, very hard hitting, lots of coverage, and as you can see from its stats, not bad stats either. 250 base attack, 185 base defense, and 246 base HP. So yeah, if you've realized, it is the exact same stat distribution as Xerneas. This legendary Pokemon is the box art of Pokemon Y, and it has some pretty cool moves, which are Sucker Punch, Snarl, and Gust for its fast moves, and for its charge moves, that's where it really packs a punch here. Dark Pulse, Hurricane, Focus Blast, Hyper Beam, and Psychic. Lots of coverage here, including Focus Blast to hit Steel, Rock, and Ice types, which will come in very useful as we'll see. So Yveltal, being a dark and flying type, is weak to Electric, Rock, Ice, and Fairy type moves. Now, this is where the Focus Blast coverage comes in, because Focus Blast helps deal with two of Yveltal's weaknesses in Rock and Ice type moves, as well as potentially hitting these Steel types that otherwise would resist Yveltal's flying type moves. So with that being said, let's now dive right into how you can beat a Yveltal in Tier 5 raids in Pokemon Go. So, for the Rock type department, you want to be careful of Focus Blast Yveltal, but in any case, you still have your big three of Rock types, Tyranitar, Rhyperior, and Terrakion. Now, Tyranitar has some really good TDO here, good bulk, decent DPS, and with the Community Day move of Smackdown and Stone Age, Tyranitar will do some pretty consistent damage here in a Tier 5 Yveltal raid. Terrakion, similar DPS to Rhyperior, really good attack stat, 260 base attack, is really nothing to scoff at here. TDO is slightly lackluster, but in my opinion, it's still usable. Honorable mentions go to Rampardos and Jigglypuff, really good DPS here. Rampardos has a sky-high attack stat of base 295, but unfortunately its bulk just isn't enough. So if you see a Focus Blast Yveltal, definitely do not bring in Rampardos. Now Jigglypuff, yes, it has slightly more bulk, but its DPS is on the low side here, lower than Rhyperior and Terrakion's DPS. Pretty meh. Smackdown and Rock Slide isn't exactly the best moveset, but nonetheless Jigglypuff still gets an honorable mention here. Now in terms of ice types, yeah, you pretty much still have your standard ice types of Mamoswine, Weavile, and Glaceon. Mamoswine has been featured in Community Day here, but unfortunately its Community Day move, Ancient Power, it's not gonna cut it because it is not a stab move. Powder Snow and Avalanche is one of the best dual ice type move combinations in the game, and backed up by good bulk and a high attack stat, Mamoswine will deal really well here. Unless it's a Focus Blast Yveltal, yeah, then it's probably not gonna do so hot or cold. Weavile and Glaceon perform similarly against a Yveltal raid here, middling DPS and TDO, good attack stat, and in the case of Glaceon, a really good defense stat as well. Be very careful when you send in a Weavile because it is a glass cannon and you pretty much don't want to send it in on a Focus Blast Yveltal. Now if you want some extra punch with your ice types, Mega Abomasnow is definitely the way to go here. Really good DPS, but unfortunately it does take up one of your Mega slots, so be very careful which Mega you pick here, and yes, there are more than one Mega Evolutions on this list. Honorable mention goes to Galarian Darmanitan here for having such a high attack stat, but unfortunately, just like Weavile, it is a glass cannon. That defense stat of base 114 is pretty low, so I wouldn't recommend using a Galarian Darmanitan, especially if you don't yet have Galarian Darumaka. Now in the electric type department, you do have some more options here, such as Zekrom with really good attack and defense stats. That's why it has such a good DPS and TDO here. And with the combination of Charge Beam and Wild Charge, it's definitely one of the best electric types in the game right now, if not the best electric type in the game. Next up, we have Thunderous Therian form with a very high attack stat of base 295. Unfortunately, its defense and HP are on the low side, but its DPS is amazing, so you should definitely consider using a Thunderous Therian if you have gotten one in Tier 5 raids the last last time it was around. And if you're still considering some Mega Evolutions, Mega Ampharos is definitely a title contender with 294 base attack. Volt Switch, Zap Cannon is definitely the best moveset on it, with Charge Beam and Zap Cannon coming in at a close second here. And if you want another option for your Mega slot, Mega Manectric is definitely another contender. Decent attack stat, base 286, and really good DPS here. Its TDO is just meh. So if you were to ask me, Mega Ampharos would definitely be my Mega slot. Raikou and Zapdos are also pretty decent to bring in on a Yveltal raid. They do pretty decent, have similar DPS to Glaceon, good TDO as well. Honorable mentions go to Magnezone and Electivire. Their DPS is on the low side, but fortunately their TDO is enough to redeem it here. Especially Magnezone, since it's part Steel type, it resists most of Yveltal's moves. Gust, it resists. Hurricane, Magnezone also resists. Hyper Beam, Psychic, Magnezone resists them as well. Unfortunately, it does die instantly from a Focus Blast because Yveltal is such an amazing wall breaker. And for your fairy types, you basically only have two options besides Sylveon, which we still don't know how Sylveon ranks yet. But anyway, for your fairy type options, you have Gardevoir and Togekiss, both with Charm and Dazzling Gleam. Gardevoir has slightly higher DPS because of its higher attack stat. Togekiss has slightly higher TDO because of its bulkiness, but in any case, both are very good fairy type attackers. And if Sylveon makes the cut for a viable Yveltal counter, I'll definitely be updating you guys in the comments section, so definitely look down there for any updates. For your ideal group size, yes, we are still technically in the middle of a pandemic, so use a remote raid pass where you can, practice social distancing, wear a mask, stay safe, and protect yourself. In any case, around 5 trainers level 35 or higher would be sufficient to beat Yveltal in tier 5 raids. Of course, if you don't have the right counters powered up to the right level, you're free to bring more trainers in or invite some of your friends using remote raid passes. Of course, do whatever you can to protect yourself from the Rona. Safety is always first. And last but not least, let's go over Yveltal's max CP from raids. Well, otherwise known as the 100% CP. The 100% IV CP for a non-weather boosted Yveltal, that is any other weather apart from foggy or windy weather. Yveltal can be caught at a max CP of 2160 from a non-weather boosted raid and 2701 from a weather boosted raid, that is in foggy or windy weather. So that's basically it for this video. I would love to tell you how good Yveltal is in battle, but all I can say is that Yveltal is an excellent dark type attacker in gyms and raids. I still don't know how good Yveltal is in PvP, especially with the volatility of Master League and the Master League Classic, and you know, the one where XL candies are allowed. Yeah, that's pretty chaotic there in the Master League. So anyway, that's gonna be it here for this video. I'm TaeganAdventures, you have just watched Raid Royale, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace out.